Sanatana Dharma, often called Hinduism, stands as one of the world's oldest living spiritual traditions. Yet, despite its age and influence, it remains deeply misunderstood by many. People often assume it's simply polytheistic, idol-based, or rooted in mythology and contradiction. But beneath these assumptions lies a profound philosophical system that explores the nature of reality, consciousness, suffering, justice, and liberation. Today, we'll journey through the core teachings of Hindu scriptures, separating philosophy from symbolism, and uncovering the true essence of Sanatana Dharma. Many people see Hinduism as a religion of countless gods, idol worship, and fantastical stories. They may think it's illogical or even contradictory. However, these views often miss the depth and subtlety of Hindu philosophy. The scriptures present a sophisticated exploration of reality, consciousness, and the human condition. Rather than being a collection of myths, Hindu texts offer a systematic approach to understanding existence, suffering, and the path to liberation. Let's begin by clarifying what Sanatana Dharma truly means. Sanatana Dharma is not a religion founded by a single prophet or based on one holy book. The term means eternal order, referring to the underlying principles that govern all existence. Unlike many faiths, it isn't built on a single historical event, exclusive revelation, or a final judgment day. Instead, it's rooted in the observation of reality, inner experience, moral causality, and the pursuit of self-realization. Sanatana Dharma is a living tradition, constantly evolving and adapting, yet always pointing toward the eternal truths that underlie the universe. Like many major world religions, Sanatana Dharma does not trace its origins to a single founder, prophet, or moment in history. There is no exclusive revelation or one final judgment day. Instead, its foundation is built on the careful observation of reality, personal inner experience, and the law of moral causality. The tradition encourages seekers to discover truth for themselves, emphasizing self-realization over blind belief. This openness has allowed Sanatana Dharma to remain vibrant and relevant through the ages. Vedas are the foundational scriptures of Sanatana Dharma. Known as Esakutruti, or revealed knowledge, they were not composed by humans but realized by ancient sages in deep states of awareness. The Vedas identify the root problem of human life as avidya, or ignorance. From this ignorance arise ego, desire, attachment, karma, rebirth, and ultimately, suffering. The Vedas famously declare, truth is one. The wise speak of it in many ways, emphasizing unity beyond apparent diversity. The heart of the Vedic worldview is the concept of avidya, or ignorance. This ignorance is not simply a lack of information, but a fundamental misunderstanding of reality. It gives rise to ego, desire, attachment, and the cycle of karma and rebirth. The Vedas teach that suffering is not imposed by an external force, but arises naturally from this ignorance. By recognizing and overcoming avidya, one can break free from the cycle of suffering and attain true knowledge. Vedas present a profound vision of unity. The famous verse, Ekam Sat Viprabhahadha Vadanti, means truth is one, the wise speak of it in many ways. This is not merely social tolerance, but an ontological statement about the nature of reality. Despite the diversity of forms, names, and paths, there is a single underlying truth. This unity is the foundation of Sanatana Dharma's inclusiveness and philosophical depth. Upanishads form the philosophical heart of the Vedas. They reveal Brahman, the supreme reality, as uncreated, infinite, formless, and beyond time and causation. The Upanishads also introduce the concept of Atman, the true self. According to these texts, you are not the body or the mind. Your essence is pure consciousness. The great declarations, Tat Tivamasi, you are that, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, and Sarvam Kalvadam Brahma, all this is Brahman, point to the unity of individual consciousness with the Supreme. Upanishads teach that our true nature is not limited to the body or mind. Instead, our essence is consciousness itself, which is identical with Brahman, the supreme reality. When the texts declare, Tat Tivamasi, you are that, they are not saying the ego is God. Rather, they mean that the innermost consciousness in each being shares the same reality as the Supreme. This realization dissolves the illusion of separation and leads to liberation. Profound question arises, if Brahman is complete, perfect, and desireless, why does creation exist at all? Why are there worlds, humans, suffering, and cycles of birth? Hindu philosophy addresses this question without contradiction, offering nuanced answers at different levels of understanding. Let's explore what creation is not, and then what it truly means in the context of Sanatana Dharma. Creation, according to Hindu philosophy, does not exist because God was lonely, desired pleasure, needed worship, or wanted to test humanity. The Supreme is Purna, complete in every way. A complete reality cannot create out of lack or need. This understanding sets Hindu thought apart from many other religious explanations of creation, emphasizing that the universe is not the result of divine deficiency or whim. Hindu philosophy explains creation on three levels. At the absolute level, Paramarthika Satya, no creation ever truly occurred, Brahman alone exists and time and causation are mere appearances. At the empirical level, Vyavaharika Satya, creation exists because of ignorance, not God's ignorance but the individual soul. The world is a field where ignorance is experienced and eventually dissolved. Finally, Leela refers to creation as the spontaneous expression of infinite potential, not as entertainment or a game. Leela, often misunderstood as divine play, actually means the spontaneous expression of infinite potential. It's not that God is playing games with the world, but rather that creation flows naturally from the fullness of the Supreme, like fire radiating heat or the sun radiating light. There is no compulsion or need. Creation is simply the effortless expression of completeness. Among all beings, humans are unique. They possess self-awareness, the ability to discriminate viveka, and the capacity to transcend instinct. Most importantly, humans can attain moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. While animals experience karma and gods enjoy karma, only humans have the opportunity to end karma and realize their true nature. This makes human birth both rare and precious in Hindu thought. Is there suffering? Hindu philosophy teaches that suffering is not imposed by God but arises from ignorance and attachment. Freedom is real and karma must operate. Learning requires consequence, and suffering is the natural result of actions rooted in ignorance. When ignorance ends, suffering ends. The world is not a place of punishment but a classroom for growth and realization. Liberation or moksha does not destroy the universe, instead it destroys bondage. For the liberated soul, the world may continue and the cycles of time may go on, but personal bondage has ended. Creation ends for that soul, even if it appears to continue for others. This is the ultimate goal of human life according to Sanātana Dharma. Bhagavad Gita brings philosophy into daily life. In this sacred dialogue, Krishna explains that suffering arises from ego attachment and the desire for control. He offers three main paths: karma yoga, selfless action; jnana yoga, wisdom; and bhakti yoga, devotion. These are not separate religions, but psychological disciplines that help individuals overcome suffering and realize the Supreme. Krishna's teachings in the Gita outline three primary paths: karma yoga, the path of selfless action; jnana yoga, the path of wisdom; and bhakti yoga, the path of devotion. Each path addresses different temperaments and psychological needs, but all ultimately lead to the Supreme. Sincere worship, even through different forms, reaches the same ultimate reality. The Gita's message is one of inclusiveness and practical spirituality. Hindu philosophy makes a clear distinction between the supreme reality, Brahman or Paramatma, and the devas or gods. Brahman is absolute, unchanging, and beyond karma. Devas are powerful beings within creation who govern cosmic functions, but they are still subject to time and karma. Even Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are seen as functional manifestations, not the absolute itself in Advaita philosophy. Devas or gods are not the supreme reality. They are powerful beings who govern various aspects of the cosmos, such as creation, preservation, and destruction. However, they are still part of the created order and subject to time and karma. This distinction helps clarify the difference between worship of deities and realization of the absolute in Hindu thought. Hinduism is often misunderstood as worshipping stones or idols. In reality, the tradition teaches that the mind needs a focus and form can lead to the formless. The Vedas declare, na tasya pratimursti, no form can fully represent the Supreme. Idols are tools for concentration and meditation, not objects of blind worship. They help the mind move from the tangible to the intangible. Idol worship, or murti puja, is a symbolic practice. It acknowledges that the human mind often needs a concrete focus to contemplate the infinite. The idol is not seen as God itself, but as a representation that helps the devotee connect with the formless Supreme. This approach is rooted in psychological understanding and is meant to aid spiritual growth, not limit it. Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Puranas are epic stories that teach through narrative and symbolism. When gods appear human, marrying, suffering, or struggling, these are not literal accounts but symbolic pedagogy. Classical Hindu philosophers never read these stories as literal history. Instead, they are seen as vehicles for conveying deep philosophical and moral lessons. Stories found in the Itihasas and Puranas use symbolism to teach profound truths. When gods and heroes face challenges, their struggles represent inner battles and ethical dilemmas faced by all humans. These narratives are not meant to be taken literally, but to inspire reflection and growth. The symbolic approach allows complex ideas to be communicated in an accessible and memorable way. Hinduism does not teach the existence of an eternal devil. The term Asura originally meant a powerful being, not inherently evil. Evil in Hindu thought is a state of consciousness, not a permanent identity. No soul is eternally damned. All beings evolve under the law of karma. This perspective emphasizes growth, transformation, and the potential for redemption. In Hindu philosophy, evil is not a separate force or being, but a state of consciousness marked by ignorance and attachment. Even those called demons or asuras are not eternally evil. They too are subject to karma and can evolve. This understanding fosters compassion and the belief in universal progress toward truth and liberation. Karma is often misunderstood as punishment, but in Hinduism it is simply moral causality. Every action produces a consequence, which educates consciousness over time. Justice is automatic, impersonal, and perfectly fair, distributed across lifetimes. This system ensures that every being has the opportunity to learn, grow, and ultimately attain liberation. Like human justice systems, karma operates automatically and impersonally. Every action, thought, and intention shapes future experiences, ensuring that justice is perfectly fair and distributed across time. This perspective removes the need for external judgment and emphasizes personal responsibility and growth. In Hindu stories, tapas, or intense spiritual practice, increases power but not necessarily wisdom. Power without dharma, righteousness, leads to destruction. The concept of avatara is not about God fixing mistakes, but about restoring balance when adharma or unrighteousness peaks. Avatars descend to re-establish harmony and guide humanity back to the path of truth. Avatars, or divine incarnations, appear when the balance of dharma and adharma is disrupted. Their purpose is not to punish or reward, but to restore harmony and guide beings toward righteousness. This cyclical intervention reflects the ongoing process of cosmic balance in Hindu thought. Time in Hinduism is cyclical, not linear. The four yugas, Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali, repeat endlessly. After the dark age of Kali, the golden age of Satya returns. This cyclical view of time reflects the eternal nature of existence and the ongoing opportunity for growth and renewal. For the liberated soul, time itself comes to an end. Four yugas, Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali, represent different ages of the world, each with its own characteristics and challenges. After Kali Yuga, the cycle begins anew with Satya Yuga. This endless repetition underscores the impermanence of worldly conditions and the importance of seeking liberation beyond the cycles of time. For those who attain moksha, or liberation, the cycles of time and rebirth come to an end. While the world and its ages may continue, the liberated soul is no longer bound by time or karma. This freedom is the ultimate goal of human life in Sanātana Dharma. Heaven, Swarga, and hell, Naraka, in Hinduism are not eternal destinations. Heaven is a temporary reward and hell is a temporary correction. Neither is final. Only moksha, liberation from ignorance and rebirth, is permanent. This view encourages seekers to look beyond temporary pleasures and pains toward lasting freedom. Both heaven and hell are seen as temporary states, experienced as a result of one's actions. They serve as opportunities for reward or correction, but ultimately every soul moves on. The only final goal is moksha, the end of ignorance and the cycle of rebirth. This perspective shifts the focus from external rewards to inner realization. Moksha is the ultimate aim of Sanātana Dharma. It is freedom from ignorance, rebirth, and fear. Moksha is not a reward for good behavior, but an awakening to one's true nature. It is the realization that the self is not separate from the Supreme. This awakening brings lasting peace and liberation from all forms of bondage. Attaining moksha means being free from the cycle of birth and death, and from the fears that arise from ignorance. It is not about escaping the world, but about awakening to the true nature of reality. This freedom brings a deep sense of peace and fulfillment, regardless of external circumstances. Sanātana Dharma is not about blind belief or superstition. It is a path of philosophical inquiry and direct experience. The tradition encourages seekers to question, reflect, and realize the truth for themselves. This approach fosters a spirit of openness and continuous learning, making it relevant for all times. The path of Sanātana Dharma is both philosophical and experiential. It invites individuals to explore the nature of reality through study, meditation, and ethical living. Realization is not just intellectual, but a lived experience that transforms one's entire being. This holistic approach integrates knowledge, action, and devotion. At the heart of Sanātana Dharma is the recognition that truth is one, though the paths to it are many. This inclusiveness allows for a diversity of practices, beliefs, and approaches, all aimed at the same ultimate realization. The tradition honors the uniqueness of each seeker while pointing toward a shared goal. Sanātana Dharma acknowledges that there are many paths to the truth. Whether through devotion, knowledge, or selfless action, all sincere efforts ultimately lead to the same realization. This flexibility has allowed the tradition to embrace a wide range of beliefs and practices, fostering harmony and mutual respect. The ultimate aim of Sanātana Dharma is not belief but realization. It is the direct experience of one's true nature and unity with the Supreme. This realization brings freedom, peace, and fulfillment, transcending all external distinctions. The journey is personal, but the destination is universal. Sanātana Dharma's openness and inclusiveness make it a path for all seekers, regardless of background or belief. Its teachings are relevant not only to those born into the tradition, but to anyone seeking truth and liberation. The emphasis on self-realization and inner experience ensures that the journey is meaningful and transformative for everyone. In summary, Sanātana Dharma is not a system of blind belief or superstition. It is a living, evolving tradition that offers a philosophical and experiential path toward truth and liberation. By exploring reality, consciousness, and the nature of suffering, it guides seekers to the realization that truth is one, paths are many, and realization is the ultimate goal. Sanātana Dharma does not ask you to simply believe, it asks you to realize. The journey is one of inquiry, reflection, and direct experience. By walking this path, seekers move beyond myth and symbol to discover the eternal truths that underlie all existence. In the end, realization is not just the goal of Sanātana Dharma, but the fulfillment of human life itself.